AITA for expecting sex on a date night with my wife. Updates. Well, this surprisingly took off. A few responses to commonly asked questions. Why involve friends on date night? Because she asked, it wasn't what I had planned, but I do try to make her happy. 2. How often do we normally have sex? 2 to 3 times a week, which is honestly pretty good for having 3 young children, although the distribution tends to be a little uneven, i.e. we might have it 5 times one week and then only once the next. I also try to be a generous partner, and almost always try to get her off first, unless she just asks for a quickie. 3. How did I not notice the sex strike that was going on for almost a month? I intentionally took a week off from initiating in an effort to show I wasn't just about sex, and then I caught a severe case of COVID at the end of that week, and then she got her period, and then we went on a trip, where sex is hard with small kids. So even if she hadn't been intentionally withholding, there wouldn't really have been an opportunity for it. Just a really unfortunate series of events that happened one after the other. We also did slip in a couple of sessions in there where she initiated, in what she called moments of weakness. Frankly, we both like sex, but she is sometimes willing to hurt/penalize herself to prove a point. Also, we've had 4 or 5 stretches in the past where we have gone many months without sex due to childbirth/major surgery/depression. I do truly care for my wife, and I'm willing to play the long game. 4. Why are you not worried about your wife being with a male friend late at night? We're very close to this couple, and they are probably over at our house at least once a week. The husband in particular is close friends with both me and my wife. His wife works very early in the morning, so she pretty much always goes to bed very early. As such, he is often left alone at night, and he frequently ends up at our place, where we drink, play board games or cards, listen to music, play guitars, etc. It is not at all unusual for him to come over and stay late at our place, as my wife and I stay up much later than his wife. It was only weird, and frustrating, because my wife invited him over on a date night. Our friend is also a really solid guy. He's probably the safest person I could think of to hang out with my wife who is a guy. I know the optics aren't great and that if I were a third party I'd probably think something shady is going on. Just knowing the people involved, it's not something I am concerned about. I'm confident our friend intended to come over for just a drink. He did in fact try to leave, and he had even called an Uber. My wife grabbed his phone and cancelled it. And I do think they did just lose track of time. We had a brief power outage the day before, so our living room clock was not working. 5. What happened on the other 3 dates? On one, we had met up with a large group of friends at a bar after dinner and we were all having fun. Unfortunately, one of us had to relieve the babysitter. I kindly offered to go home and let her stay out with the crew. Many of our friends stay out late, most have family or a full-time nanny that can do overnights. She ended up staying out until after 3 o'clock and was blackout when she got back, so I helped her get into bed and called it a night. On another, we got into an argument over something stupid at dinner and it killed the mood. On the third, she just was very tired by the time we got home and wanted to go to sleep, which is totally valid. I didn't complain or push it. This wasn't really a pattern of any specific behavior on her part. I was more just frustrated that circumstances seemed to always conspire to prevent the ideal date night from occurring, and this one being foiled was definitely her fault. 6. Why did your wife stay up so late? My wife is a bit of a night owl. Her ideal schedule is probably to stay up until 12 or 1 and then sleep in until 9. And on the weekend when she is having fun, she would easily stay up until 2 or 3. This is something that we have argued about in the past, as once she gets going she doesn't like to stop, which she admits isn't the best, which always leaves me needing to be the responsible one. I've told her in the past that I'd gladly stay up until 3 o'clock with her if she agrees to do the morning shift the next day, but she has always declined on the basis of that not being enough sleep. 7. How is your division of labor? I work a high-pay, long-hours job, and my wife is a som. When I'm at work I'm obviously gone and she takes care of the kids. When I'm not working, I probably do 60% of the household labor and she does 40%. I try to do the heavy lifting with the kids when I'm home because taking care of 3 young kids is exhausting, and I know she appreciates the break. In particular, I do the morning shift, which we both view as the worst one. She is definitely appreciative of all the household labor I do, and has stated she recognizes that I do more than any of our male friends. 8. Is your wife a good mom? She's a fantastic mom, really, truly fantastic. She puts in a ton of effort making our kids' lives fun and full of whimsy. She's all their friends' favorite mom since she's fun and cares about them. She goes 100% when taking care of the kids, which I think is why she sometimes parties perhaps too late and doesn't want the night to end, as taking care of kids really is draining, especially if you go max effort. 9. How is your relationship otherwise? We both do thoughtful things for one another. I make her coffee every morning and leave a note for her next to the mug. She helps my mom with tech support, which is a true act of love. I did it for years and hated it. I buy her flowers about once a week and will randomly surprise her with small gifts. She will buy me less frequent, but larger and more thoughtful, gifts. If you take sex out of the equation, the relationship is great, and until a few weeks ago I would have told you that was great too. 10. Are you an unreliable narrator? I hope not. I think if you ask my wife what happened, she would agree with essentially everything I've said. I think she would probably just add some additional background information, the big one being that we have had arguments about sex in the past. We had a bad argument about 9 months ago that led to about a month-long hiatus after I complained to her that we never had sex while on vacation, and we probably take 10 or so trips a year, although many of them are just for long weekends. Her view was that we usually have kids in a room directly adjacent to us, and often other adults, since we typically do an Airbnb with friends or go to a friend's vacation home, and that she would be mortified if our kids or friends heard us. It's honestly a valid point, and she convinced me of it. I stop trying on vacation unless she initiates, which she still does periodically, but she did feel that I was ungrateful in light of all the normal sex we were having, and that she needed to reset expectations so that sex was special rather than a usual occurrence. I get the sense that her current sex strike is essentially the same thing. 11. Is this fake? Unfortunately, no. I'm very much a real human. Beep boop beep boop. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more stories from Reddit.